Welcome to my build of a 60-inch Das Ugly Stik, which is going to be powered by my lovely Thunder Tiger Pro 61. I've started doing the preparation now for the fuselage, and I think I'm probably about ready to start gluing things together. I'll just run through quickly what I've done. We've got these two base pieces for the fuselage, which I've epoxied together with a piece of 3mm ply. The front's 3mm ply and the back's 3mm balsa wood. To try and work out where everything's going, to try and be as accurate as possible, I put a centre line up the middle of the fuselage, which I'm using as my kind of baseline, if you like, on what to work from, because these sides are tapered and actually they're not the finished sides. They're going to need to be, certainly the plywood at the front is going to be needed sand in a little bit to meet the fuselage sides. So I put this centre line up the middle. The first thing I did was work out where these two blocks, these two quarter-inch blocks go to locate the tail fin that drops down into that. And to do that, because it's quite important to get those square, so I used a piece of quarter-inch 6mm balsa, and I held it on that centre line, and I marked the 6mm here. I used a slightly longer piece of balsa than this, but I've marked a 3mm either side of the centre line, and I've used this just to line those up, to make sure that they're directly in accordance with that line. And to hold these, because I use cyanoacrylate, I'm using cyanoacrylate on most of this, to hold these in position to make sure they were right, because obviously I didn't want to glue it with this in place, or the whole lot would be glued. While this was in place, I pinned these side pieces, held them down firm with a little bit of plastic between my finger and the balsa, and put on the super glue, just to make sure that those are directly in line. I then measured from this rear end, this end of the fuselage here meets the tail fin, cuts across like that. I then measured from this terminal piece here to where the formers are, and probably the easiest way, I just use this square to make sure that these were square. The fuselage cross formers, I've marked a centre line on each one so that I can mark them up and put them in place like that. Now to prepare these, what I've done is I've just made sure that they stand up on their own like that, which to me indicates they have a square base. As hard as you like when you're cutting with a knife, it's so easy just to get a little bit of an angle on that base. So I've just made sure, a little bit of fine sanding just to make sure that they are all a square base for when I glue them into place, which I'm going to do very soon. I still need to just sand these holes a little bit just to neaten them up. But with that centre line there now, I can line those up, which should give me 6mm or quarter-inch either side. I'll just get the fuselage sides, which are over here in the workshop. So with these formers on the centre line, and that just on the edge there, so that should be nice. One thing of note, I cut out F3, which is a central. It's central between the wings, back of the wings, front of the wings, and it's a low former. It doesn't come right up to the top, and it holds a servo tray here. I cut it out as per the plans, and then came to put the hardwood support across for the servo tray, and realised that actually if I'd done it as on the plans it would go straight across these holes. So I kind of had a look and I had a look at the pictures in the manual, because something I didn't mention is that actually with this set of plans on AutoZone also comes a very good PDF of a manual how to build. I'll just quickly show you that, and it's great because I don't know, you can see here. So it's two monthly articles from the RC Modeler back in 1985, and it's really good. It provides a lot of information that's really useful. Some of it I'm kind of varying a little bit and perhaps not doing it in the order, but that's, if you're building it, that's something to be aware of, that actually if you do it as per plan you'll end up blocking your holes. So that's scrap. I've made another one and I've put holes in the bottom just for the servo wires to come through into the front here to the radio and the battery. So I think I'm about there now and ready to get on and start seeing this fuselage take shape. Well, as you'll see from the high-speed film, I spent quite a lot of time messing around, making sure I got everything square, the right distance, the tailplane at the end, vertical and central, but hopefully that all looks nice and straight now and should be fine. So now I've got the basic structure of the fuselage finished. I still need to do the firewall, the landing gear and the engine mount. This front end will be pulled in. But before I do that, and before I start to put on the top for the engine mount and the rear decking here, I want to get the wings finished and actually fit the wings, get them levelled out and make sure that that's all correct, and then I will bring on the final works for the fuselage. So I'm going to call a halt to the fuselage construction now and get on and do the wings, and once I've got the wings fitted I will come back and finish off the fuselage.